same, bowls round the wicket, and that's played out by Chris Jordan on his home ground for no runs. Jordan on 1. Chris Jordan coming back to the place he grew up, played all his cricket. Obviously, he's represented Barbados at first-class cricket before making the move via a scholarship at Dulwich College. And he's back at Kensington Oval, where he hit a lot of sixes last time he played here. He played out to mid-off for no run. I interviewed him during a Sussex County match at Horsham, and I said, and he gave one of those quotes that hitting all those sixes at Barbados in front of his family was better than sex. 41 for 6. I thought that would stump you both. 41 for 6 off 11 overs. Morgan on 9, Jordan on 1. Don't shoot me, I'm only the messenger.
On socials, I'll just go over it. Mog, look, I don't want to say this is pathetic, but this is pathetic. England are going to finish under 50, I reckon. You get pretty good odds for that.
Yeah. Well, here's Shepherd into a bat, continuing. That's played nicely by Morgan through the gap, and almost got his first boundary, but it's been hauled in just, and there by Brandon King. A good bit of fielding from him, and Morgan takes 3, and showing signs of much needed runs here. England got to try and squeeze out as many as they can from this situation. Over halfway through, 43 for 6. It's an Ashes type scoreline, and a few people are making those comparisons. And here's Shepherd, bowls on a length straight, and Morgan plays what could be described as a test match shot, although of course when Morgan played test cricket it looked like a crab.
Morgan's got to stay there for almost the whole of the innings to get England to anywhere near a decent score, I think.
Needs to be there.
He really does.
But he's not in form. He's not been in form for 6 months or so.
Yeah, he's becoming the Mike Brearley of white ball cricket. He's there for his captaincy, but he's got a chance to put the record straight, set things up today. He's gone aerial. Is that going to be safe? Yes, it is. He's placed that beautifully. Great shot from Morgan, showing that form may be temporary, but class is permanent. Goes for a boundary.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, that was a good shot by Morgan. And but just to say, Jonathan Agnew giving that interview, Jason, I'm going to get your reaction to that in a moment. Here's Shepherd bowls, and that's played defensively by Morgan. Has that gone into his? Is that spooned? Is that a catch? My God, I thought it was only a paddle shot. It was no conviction behind it, but it's gone straight up in the air, and that is an embarrassing dismissal. Morgan is out. Shepherd, it's out caught at short mid off. It was just hit straight up in the air. Just poor technique. Should have kept it down. Yeah, Colin.
Played it early, toe-ended it, more or less.
Yeah, played it easy and toe-ended it. It was such a casual shot that I thought, well, that can only be a defensive shot, but it was just a spoon straight up in the air. I thought for his sake it should be along the ground. That's a disappointing end for Owen Morgan, who's been, I won't say gloating about England's test match difficulties, but he hasn't been helping the situation with his comments recently. And Jay's got to ask you about Surrey. Vikram Solanki's gone. Who's going to be the next Surrey coach? Is it going to be Graham Thorpe?
I'm not sure it will be. He's been being the batting coach for England for the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's not going to be for much longer, though, is he?
Based on his performance in Australia.
Well, that was lighting up a cigar.
I'm not sure that's a good recommendation.
Well, I hope, all I can say is if Thorpe is shown the exit, I hope he's accompanied by Silverwood, John Lewis, Ashley Giles, a lot of you. Time for change, isn't it? And that,
I'll come back
to
me.
Okay. Here's Shepherd bowls, and that's played out into the offside by Adil Rashid. He couldn't have been expecting to come in with England only 49 runs on the board. England bat deep, but this is a situation that Rashid is going to have to score some runs.
On the 45. Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil can turn it both ways. Adil can turn.
And this next ball is played defensively by Adil Rashid, the man with the great jingle, thanks to, is it Jeff Perkins or Mog for that one? And that's the end of that over. 12 overs have gone. It was men with Ben. One of the great things about guerrilla cricket is the jingles. Don't forget, you can help us by contributing on Patreon to help support guerrilla cricket, keeping cricket free. For most people, you pay to help keep cricket free for the rest of the world. Jason, would you say that's a price worth paying, a donation on Patreon? Can you just remind listeners where to go for the Patreon, just to support us with like £2 a month or something?
Go to guerrillacricket.com, and at that point there's a link to go to Patreon, which is Patreon/Guerrilla Cricket, I do believe. There you can sign up and make recurring donations of whatever level you require. Beautiful
ball from Hussain, spins past just the outside edge. So just Rashid was very lucky to get it. Well, Jordan was very lucky to get away with that. He played forward, it turned and bounced. It was a classic left armer's dismissal from Akil Hussain. He's been doing really well for the West Indies since he burst on the scene. The man from Trinidad and Tobago seemed to have an endless source of slow left armers. He bowls, and that's hit high by Jordan. It's gone for a big shot. It's going to go straight into the Haynes and Greenwich stand for maximum of 6 runs.
It's a 6. It's beautiful and it's mine.
That was the original track. Was your 16, wasn't it? Wasn't that one of Prince Andrew's favourites, Jason?
No comment.
That was beautifully hit by Chris Jordan into the Greenwich and Haynes. Sorry, it's into the 3Ws stand at the members' end, and fantastic shot. Shades of the last time they were here in 2019, where Jordan hit all those sixes here at Bridgetown, Kensington Oval, in front of his family. So he's doing that again. He's pulled the ball down too long on. They're going to run for 2 runs. Acrobatic bit of fielding, and it's a relay there in Odin Smith, who wasn't the one that did the acrobatic piece of fielding. It won't surprise you to know, but he is the one who returns the ball in to the keeper. So Jordan's going to be really motivated to do well here, because he was playing first class cricket in Barbados till he got a scholarship at Dulwich College, and then that led to the contract with Sussex, and he of course found Jofra Archer. Here's Hussain, good ball. That one's the arm ball fired in. Jason, you wanted to comment on the England situation?
I'm less worried about Solanke leaving. I'm more worried about the fact that England may come knocking for Alex Stewart.
Yeah, indeed.
As the DOC role.
I think Owen Morgan should be director of cricket, because then he'd have oversight over Test and ODI, because at the moment we're getting better at white ball at the expense of red ball, and it needs to be a more integrated strategy than that. That's played out into the offside, and there's 2 runs there to Jordan, who's been making good headway here. He goes on to 11 off 9 and 59 for 7. Evening, John. John Stiles has been in touch, says he blames cricket for all of this. Shout out to Oliver Stiles, my godson. Yes, the godfather. Hussain, with his glasses on, the shades, looks like the Oakleys, bowls to Jordan, goes on the back foot, plays that one defensively. So I'm about to hand over now. 59 for 7. I think, Jason, you're staying on. Andy Ward is going to take over the commentary. Over to you, Andy.
Yes, I also blame cricket for all of this, unreservedly. Who's Jason, right? Who's going to be on social media for us?
Me.
That was... okay, what have you got?
Onway Nuevo says, this game's a warm-up, right? How many more do you get before the T20 starts properly? Our very own Hendo says, I missed the final half hour of the Masked Singer for this. Still, great batting practice for Adil and Jordan.
Well, if you had a bet on any tail enders for top scorer, your ship might be about to come in.
I'm going to jump in for Colin Suter, who's having internet issues. As summarise that, Akil Hussain 1 for 16 off 4, although he did come in when England were already 5 down.
Yep, and it's Rashid on strike, and those wrists are on show as he plays that one down to long leg. Pick up a single. Shepherd is the bowler.
That is one of the worst T20 innings. I know Lendl Simmons played an absolute stinker at one point during the World Cup, but Owen Morgan looked awful during that innings. Wasn't able to lay bat on ball for most of the innings. Then, as a few batters have done this innings, hit a 6 and then got out immediately afterwards in very limp manner. It's the manner of the dismissals has been very hard to explain.
Apologies, Knuckle. I thought I was off. And now
No, back on. Go for it. Sorry for the shambles, listeners.
That's a pull shot from Jordan, who's not going to hang around here. He's pulled that one over cow corner, I can only describe it, for 6.
Oh, I say, chap, give me any lift.
And he might as well, in my opinion. What do you think, Colin?
Well, there's no point changing the style of batting, because that's generally when tailenders start getting out. So if it's his natural game, he may as well just go for it and do what he does.
I think so. I mean, I've said this many times before. I don't think there's much point England limping to 110 at a run of ball. They might as well have a go and see what happens. And Jordan has indeed taken over as top scorer. If you had a pound on him, you're probably looking good. That one's a big swing. Lovely shot from Jordan. Everything right except he missed the ball. Who's the keeper for no run? And England closing in on their lowest ever T20 international total, which is 80, against India in the 2012 World Cup.
Shades of that New Zealand game, that one-day game where they had to bring lunch in during the second innings. There was that.
Well, it's, West Indies rolled for 55 by England in the recent T20 World Cup. Don't forget, that's a full toss. And actually, half a chance of a caught bowled. He stuck a hand out there, Shepherd. Did pretty well. Doesn't seem to have hurt him much, but that was hammered back at him by Rashid. He stuck out a left hand and it bounced off. And if that hits you on the wrong part of the hand, it can be very painful, but he doesn't look too bothered.
Got 2 to that as well.
Might have done, yeah.
And it's almost gone to the boundary regardless.
Almost a baseball play there. Lovely to see a New Jersey QPR flag on the in the stands there. We are every flipping where. Premiership bound. Don't ask how we get on if we'd get there. That's another matter. Back to the cricket, and Shepherd comes in, wants to get in on the wickets. It's a short ball, and I'm not sure what that's hit from Rashid. I guess it was bat, but it was quite high up. Yeah, it must have been splice. He's tried to pull it, and when Jordan played that shot, it sailed into the stand for 6. Rashid's went about 10 yards.
I think Jordan's just saying, let me do it.
Yeah, leave that to me. Leave that to me, son. Although Rashid, he's no
run
son.
one, I'll do it.
Yep. 67 for 7.
That Rashid managed to get it down so quickly from such a height.
Yeah.
Plenty of pace from these West Indies boys. That one has helped down to fine leg, and it's fine enough that long leg just stands and watches it. 1 bounce 4. This might be the best partnership of the innings.
I thought that was a way to be caught by Rashid.
Okay, 71 for 7. 6 overs to go. What's happening, Jason?
Let's just see. Leah says, look, Dave Brooke, none of the listeners like Fred Patmos. You can stop defending him. He's indefensible. I'm not sure what...
He said one thing about an hour ago. Leah's got a bit of a thing with Fred.
Hilary Evans says, Dolly Partner's in concert on BBC Two. England might just have passed her brass eyes. And UNA, Scott Nat says, entertaining where you are ahead of the ESPN Plus feed right now. In fact, we're way ahead of the ESPN Plus TV feed right now.
And BT feed.
Left, right, all over the place.
Quicker than their relay, apparently.
It's the tool of the military-industrial complex coming onto bowl.
There's evil in his eyes showing. It shouldn't control. Come.
Left arm over, bounces in, but again he's flashed that one past Chris Jordan. All the West Indies quicks seem to have been getting something from the wicket here, which I guess could give some encouragement to Mills and Mahmood.
You remember Cottrell bowling like this, where he seemed to have a lot of limbs?
Yes.
I don't remember this run-up being quite
So
like an
octopus-like.
Yeah.
Limbs is what the kids say when you score a last-minute goal and everybody's going mad. And all the arms and legs are flying around. Sheldon Cottrell trying to do that on his own. Comes in to Jordan. That's a fuller, slower ball. It may be wide. Jordan wants a wide. I don't think he's going to get it.
Not looking impressed, is he?
No. It's well bowled.
So we call this bowling of Cottrell's a bit like a Kermit Flail.
It is, yeah. That's a perfect.
He's got 2 for 20 off 20 balls, so it's working well for him today. Gold chain a-jangling. I bet he wasn't allowed that in the army. Clubbed by Jordan. It's gone out to deep cover, just be a single. And England are 72 for 7 in the 15th over. If you've just joined us, I'd call it a collapse, except collapse sort of implies you have a platform to collapse from, and they never did really. 6 for 3, something like that.
12 wickets, exceptional rate.
Yep. And, well, England just, I guess, playing themselves back in, or trying to. I mean, no one wants England to be playing white ball cricket while the Ashes are on, so it was a pretty enforced break. That's a nice shot from Rashid. He's only going to get 1 for it, but he dabs it down to third man for a single.
What we say a defendable total would be?
I can't see too much wrong with the track. What do you think, Jason?
I would say if you've get 100, you've got a chance if you bowl really, really well.
100's a bit of a dumb and dumber chance. I'd want at least 125.
I'd still give you more like no more than 10% to 100.
I think it would be less than that. Yeah, 100 if it on a real mud heap, maybe. But well, England will just have to get what they can from here. It's another good connection from Jordan. He's put it in the gap. They should get 2 as deep cover comes round. They will.
Kind of puts them in that middle mind ground where they start thinking, should we just nudge it along to get there, or do we go guns blazing whilst the power play and that's it, over and done?
That's always a dilemma in these situations. 7 down, you're not going to be able to do much. And it's, who's still to come? Mahmood and Mills aren't really renowned. It's always a chance if you have a Plunkett at 9 and 10, but that's a big shot from Jordan over extra cover. He's got the distance. A diving attempted catch, which I think has missed, but at least he's got some sand to fall in. He nearly fell into someone's boat. I don't know what those boats are doing there. Anyway, it's 6. A little bit free and easy in the West Indies.
I believe in miracles. Since you came to bat, you 60 thing, you 60 thing, you. I believe in miracles. Since you came out to bat, you 60 thing.
Do you remember when Stamford Bridge was that awful expanse of a ground and they actually parked cars behind the goals? Do you remember that?
I have distinct memories of the likes of Toriandre Flo.
Oh, going back further than that, Dixon and Speedy. But it was almost like they got these boats. That kind of it's just a beach. That quarter of the ground just seems to be a beach. These people have just like rocked up on their boats and are having a good time. Good luck to them.
Like a tailgate party for
West
Indies, is it?
Yeah. Well, that was Cottrell. He got picked up for 6 that last ball, but I'm sure still a good day's work for him. Time for the captain to get in on the act. Well, they're pedalos apparently. That makes sense.
Sorry you can't get through. I'm busy watching
That's
cars.
good.
Run Pollard, so I'll get back to you.
Comes Lopes into the wicket, as is his way. She drops it down to short third. That's a tight single because he's not too deep, but he missed the stumps. Jordan runs another 20 yards just for show.
Jordan is awful quick.
Yeah, he'd have to be for that one, but I guess he called it. England.
Apparently, Simar says the lowest defended total is 123. 133 for 7.
Is that in international? In T20
Barbados.
internationals? Oh, in Barbados. Okay. Couldn't think of many lower in T20 internationals.
There will be in World Cups when, you know, likes of Netherlands and Scotland and the likes of batted first.
No, but they wouldn't have defended them.
Oh, I suppose, yeah, yeah.
Pollard goes wide of the crease and angles it in. He uses all the tricks. Lopes after that one out to cover, but it's not going to be a run. I wonder if we're going to see a 24-yard delivery from Pollard. That's one he's got up his sleeve.
As long as the umpire can see it, it's legal. Otherwise,
Yeah.
he has to signal dead ball and get him to bowl it again.
82 for 7 in the 16th over.
Because, of course, you can still no ball from 25 yards behind delivery if you're too wide.
Yeah, the umpire's just got to make a judgment. Clipped into the leg side, and that judgment is usually stop bowling like a twat. That one's a single.
Get one chance, and that's it.
83 for 7 in the 16th over. Getting a lot of crowd shots. I guess quite a few people will have gone out for these 5 T20s and or 3 test matches. And I have to say that mask adherence seems to be a lot better in the locals than the tourists.
I've all heard Boris Johnson's proclamation that we don't need to do masks anymore.
Yeah, that's totally backed by science and not politics. Dropped down by Rashid. It's another super slow. That was almost spin pace from Pollard.
By arse covering.
Yep, no mouth covering. No mouth covering, just arse covering. But England trying to put something up here to defend, unlike Boris Johnson, who has nothing to defend. He was indefensible.
No, he just puts bodies in front of him as a human shield.
Human shield, but that's what he's done his whole career. I don't know why anyone works for him. Pollard comes in, you know you're going to go under the bus as soon as it suits. That one's out to deep square. Sorry about the politics, everyone. I'll turn it off now. But that one's out for a single. It's 84 for 7. Pollard, this over, has gone 4-3. Knackle points out the tests aren't till March, a long trip. That's true. Yeah, test players having a bit of a break. And masks are supposed to be mandated in the crowd. They don't look to be in the English fans section. Another, I don't know if you can call it slower. They're all slow from Pollard. It's slow. It's on off stump. Rashid pokes it back. There's no run. 84 for 7, 4 overs to go.
Jersey Oak says, I would have been thought that proper Scotsmen would still be pushing themselves laughingly at this. In the historic England versus Scotland rivalries, in quotes marks. Don't worry, the Six Nations is along the way. We'll get ourselves smashed in that match as soon as that comes around.
Who's any good in that nowadays?
France are the side to beat, I think.
Yeah. I think there's only just Italy. It's the sort of whipping boys now. Everyone can beat everyone now.
Okay.
But certainly France are the people in form. They smashed the All Blacks at home in the autumn series, which was a most unexpected and very pleasant result. And it's the first
Wales
time for a long
looked like
time.
they would be bad, then suddenly turned really good, oddly.
Fabian Allen, left arm around. It's a nice looking cut from Rashid. At least should get him off strike. Get Jordan back on.
I seek him here, I seek him there, from Sabina Park to Eden Gardens. I know I've got to see him play, cause he might turn out the best. Oh, I'm a dedicated fan of Fabian Allen.
Nice work there. A little bit shorter but a little bit quicker from Allen, and Jordan can only poke it out into the leg side. There's no run.
That's what I would do for Jordan. I would take the pace off the ball. He seems to like quicker pace bowling to hit big boundaries.
Yep, that's certainly what they're doing. He's gone after that one as well. Rather almost helicoptered that one. It's going to be out. Sorry, couldn't identify the fielder. Is that Smith? Takes the catch. And good effort from Jordan. Certainly is legitimately top scored by a mile. He's gone for 28.
It's like a backseat
Scoop shot almost. Good catch.
Tried to sweep the ball without actually getting
Oh, it was
down.
actually Cottrell. Cottrell's number 19, yeah. Can't keep him out of the action. Like I say, good from Jordan at number 8, 28 off 23. He tried to score runs as well, but really was starting from the foothills, trying to climb Everest there.
Saved them from their lowest total.
Yeah, he's done that at least, and I think England will just try to do their best with the ball, take a few wickets, and regroup for the next game.
But being T20, it is a bit of a different mindset when you get out. You seem less, ultimately fussed when you get out.
Well, I don't think you should. This was one of the charges levelled at Peterson. He didn't look miserable when he was out.
Yeah.
That's just a sign of confidence in my book. Saqib Mahmood has come in. Rashid just played that one out for a single because they crossed. Pokes at that one, misses it. Wicketkeeper completely unnecessarily takes the bails off.
Sure.
Has he got long levers, Mahmood? Can he hit a long ball?
Can't say I've seen him bat, to be honest.
No, me neither.
Of course, the one that would know, he's the Lancashire. Sorry, not the Lancashire. We need Gary or Chris Dealey.
Allen to complete the over. Poked by Mahmood. It's in the gap. They should pick up one. Pollard puts a boot on the ball. Yep, 87 for 8 off 17 overs.
Scott Matto won. Ewan Innes with his Saltire logo says, well, I'm finding it highly amusing, talking about the debacle of England's innings, which has gone from being a complete catastrophe to just a relative catastrophe.
Yes, Saqib scores at 4.25 and over in his T20 career so far, so no. He's in at 10, which doesn't say a lot for Mills. He's also not renowned for his batting.
Oh.
But if you need 10 and 11 in a T20, you've done something wrong generally. Pollard's going to have another go, why not? Captain's right to bowl at the tail. And it's dropped down into the offside. Gully is in, there's no run.
Sort of a quick off-break bowler now.
Almost, yeah.
What do you describe it as? Right arm plod?
We're not actually getting a speed gun today. I haven't seen one. This would be interesting. It's almost in that no man's land of like 72. I wouldn't be surprised. Here he comes again. Bowling to Mahmood, who gets that one away up towards long on. He's going to go round and fields with his feet. Rather bit club third 11 that one, but he got a boot on it and saved 2. Wouldn't have been happy if that had gone through.
It makes me wince when I see that.
Well, you can injure yourself just as much as anything else, but really he should have been diving with his hands there. But
I think he did actually use his hands, but he slid. Yeah.
He did. I'll have to excuse me. It just looked from the angle as though he threw a leg at that one. I take it all back.
The leg was the long buried in as a second line of
Good,
defence,
actually.
I think.
Yeah. It's just the way he almost made a kicking motion as he fielded that ball. Still a couple from Mahmood. He's in again. Pollard takes it off again. He could bowl there all day. And it's gone down to sort of fly slip for no run.
The worry when you do that slide is the knee that's bent. The leg that's bent, that digs in. That's the one that gets hurt. And that's the one that did the Simon Jones injury when he did something similar.
Yeah. Pollard, yes, perhaps channeling SF Barnes. His cutters. That one is clipped down to long leg. There'll be a single.
Immediately, every time, as soon as someone gets a knee caught in the turf, is brought up. Ooh, Simon Jones, stay away.
People mention that a lot more than the fact that he was a very fine bowler.
He was.
The book's good too. Rashid, 10 off 11. What else you can do? Maybe you can find a boundary or 2 in these last 2 overs. Oh, that's a very delicate shot, but there may not be enough pace on it. Then again, there may. Oh, lovely shot. There was a fly slip, but he just let that run off the bat.
That nearly got picked by the keeper.
Yeah, it was almost through first slip. But he just kept all the pace that there was on the ball. That was he was almost pulling his bat away from that. That was lovely. I used to quite enjoy playing that shot. I don't have the wrists of Adil Rashid, never did. Pollard's gone for this just well. Pollard pulled out and then very much made a point to Saqib Mahmood that I could have man-cadded you there if I'd wanted to. And fair play to him.
I do like seeing him. I like seeing the fact that he didn't actually run him out and give him a chance.
Well, yes, Mahmood very much has his bat grounded this time, as he should. And they drop down for a single. You know, this could be solved tomorrow. Now that you've got a camera on the non-striker's end, if the non-striker is out of the crease when the bowler releases the ball, it's 1 run off any runs that were actually run. End of problem.
Yeah, definitely would be.
In the meantime, just man-cad them.
I don't think it is as big as an issue as the no balls or the slow over rates which they're going through at the minute with ICC Council. But
you could fix it like that. That's the thing. You know, over rates are a difficult thing to fix. And it's very difficult to draw up some rules that cover all eventualities. But I feel like that could be fixed in a second, and then batsmen would just stop stealing runs like the cheats they are. Rashid hoists that one up too long on, and the fielder maybe should have gone with his foot to that one because he didn't get it with his hand. He palmed it. It was Jason Holder. He palmed it into the rope, and that's 4.
I think he got a hand on it, but I'm not sure if it bounced past that.
Yeah, he's gone for it with one hand, just got a fingertip on it. It was a good effort, it was out of his reach. Good shot by Rashid, who's hit 2 boundaries this over. Maybe getting carried away, but he punches that one nicely up to long off. Pick up a single. Oh, he wants to come back for 2 and only just gets sent back in time. And England have 100 for 8 with 10 balls left in the innings.
You could say that anyone else trying to catch that wouldn't get anywhere near it, given that the hole was 6 for 8.
Yeah.
He's at full strength. So I'm not particularly negging him on his technique there. If it's just within his wheelhouse of capability to get to it, then that's a fair attempt.
It's a big flat-footed swing by Mahmood with no contact. Aaron is the bowler, by the way.
If he caught, it would have been in one of those videos, catches of the century, so it would have been remarkable.
So one thing I'm surprised after this ball.
Straight back from Mahmood, lovely straight shot, but too straight. He's gone back to Allen. I think he might have collided, almost head-butted Rashid's bat there, but no damage done.
I'm only surprised that Pollard isn't that long on where he normally sits waiting for a long catch like that.
Maybe something to do with being captaincy, he wants to be a bit closer. But yes, he is normally out there. The keeper's missed that one. It's bounced down. The short fine leg has run round. They've taken a bye. He's hit the wickets, but I think he was in. I think they're not even going to check. No, they're not going to check. That's a bottom edge, thank you.
And Pirate Bradshaw says, "Cowardice, do the fucking thing right and run out the non-striker."
Yeah, I agree. I would at this point, I would not fake it. I'd just do it. Full toss as Rashid comes down the wicket, but he does quite well. Punches it out to deep cover. It'll be at least 1. It is just the 1. Of course, there's an under-19 World Cup going on, and that's always been a fertile ground for mancads. That's the testing ground. Anyway, end of the over, 102 for 8, 1 over to go. England maybe scrape 110 and see what they can do.
Yep. Just to finish off the run-outs and mancads, our own Nakul Pandey says in the internal chat, "I could run you out, but you're so bad I don't need to."
Oh dear. Don't mind me.
Seems a bit harsh, but probably accurate. And,
ooh, back to the cricket. Sorry, I was just enjoying some pictures there. Holder is going to bowl the last over. Rashid swats it out towards square leg, really. 2 fielders converge. They should pick up 2. No, it's just the 1. They should have had 2 there. Perhaps they were distracted as well. Mahmood looking like a man who perhaps doesn't really enjoy batting all that much. I don't really understand. I mean, even if you're bread and butter as a bowler, you should enjoy swinging a bat around, especially in T20.
It's odd that James Anderson always said he liked batting.
No, I could see that. I bet if you ask James Anderson what his favourite career moment is, it's probably that 80 he scored. A slower ball bounces over the stumps. Mahmood swung on Monday. The ball came through on Tuesday. And Holder, 2 for 7, bowling this last over with 4 overs to go. Very impressive figures for him. He and Cottrell did all the damage at the top of the innings. And England never really able to recover from that. Holder is in again. And that's high from Mahmood. High, is it long enough? It's not. The fielder settling underneath it and takes a comfortable catch. Had to have a go, didn't quite work out. Now Mills is going to have a whack for a couple of balls.
Or not.
Yeah, or not.
Didn't seem to place himself first before playing a shot, so he started playing the shot, and then he moved his body, and it just ended up half.
Too many moving parts there. Still, it's not in the team to bat. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he never seemed to get a good base to hit from there. He was just muscled over there rather than timed.
Well, I hope they crossed. The scorecard is indicating that they didn't, which would be pretty careless.
Rashid started running
a bad back of bowling. I see T20 specialized. I've seen him bowling quick as
No, they did. It's the scorecard that's wrong. Rashid's back on strike. Goes for the ramp and loses his leg stump. And that's a suitably ignominious end to the innings. England are 103 all out in 19.4 overs.
Holder with the Scotty Boland style 4 for
and
7.
Jason Holder is on a hat-trick next game. I wonder if they'll remember. Well, what has social media made of all that, Jason?
Not a lot. We haven't got anything on it because YouTube's having problems with the audio still, and I think everyone has assumed that this game is done and dusted on Twitter, and we're up to date.
Well, Knackle says hat-tricks don't carry over between games. Club cricketers would disagree.
As a bowler, I would disagree.
Teammate of mine once took a hat-trick over 2 seasons. Last 2 balls of one season, first ball of the next. Well, Knackle would have nixed it, but trust me, we still made him buy a jug.
You'd be arguing why you're not bowling up more often.
Well, he used to bowl about 15 overs a game, so he was fine.
Yeah, I did annoy my teammates at one point with taking 4 wickets in 5 balls without having a hat-trick.
I should tell you about my hat-trick one time. It was 4 in 4, and I was only an occasional bowler at the time, and I think I was adjudged to have to buy 3 jugs for that for some reason. It was the Aussie double hat-trick, and then 1 more for some reason. Right, well, England 103 all out. Jordan top scored with 28, Rashid 22, Morgan 17, but it was a tortuous 17 off 29, Vince 14 off 12, and everybody else is a telephone number. Were we going to continue through the break?
Yep, I believe so. I believe we are meant to wibble for the 10 minutes or so that they're supposed to have between the innings.
Let's give some credit then and talk about the West Indies bowling performance.
Absolutely. I mean, standout looks like Jason Holder with 4 for 7. Those little numbers look surprisingly familiar to something fairly recently in the BBL. I'm trying to remember who that was. That was Mahmood, was it not, who took 4 for 7 in one of the
bowling
BBL
6 for 7 in the Test match.
But also, yeah, everyone seems to have gone well apart from Shepherd, who went for 8 runs and over in his 3 overs.
Wickets all round in England. I'm trying to look at what their highest partnership was. I wouldn't be surprised if it was... Yes, it's clearly Jordan and Rashid who put on 36. Well, to be honest, Colin, this is a first to me coming on with yourself. What's your background in cricket?
I've played it for quite a long time. So I've been playing cricket for about 20 years, but not sure if I'm going to be playing it too much longer with my dodgy leg, which is currently in a full full, not a cast, but on a full leg restraint. And
dear.
a leg brace, that's what you meant to call it.
Well, I don't know if it's a thing in Scotland, but I play over 50s cricket, and you can always get a second wind at 50 and play that, and it's actually quite good. You play with some good players.
We played, the team I played for, we played against England over 50s.
They'll be good. In fact, I know a guy who's in the squad, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of, one of them, I was trying to remember his name, he was an old international that was playing at the time. I think I was wicket keeping that day.
You don't get too many. It's funny, you don't get too many ex-pros playing. To be fair, I think they've generally had about enough by that time. But you get some guys who, scored a ton of runs in minor counties and wanted to keep on going. And it's good. I was talking to some guys at Sussex, and they were talking about how their over 70s played the Australian over 70s touring team. And you can imagine over 70s cricket, pretty friendly. The bowling is generally pretty friendly, but Australia had someone who was still putting it up around their shoulders, and they suddenly had to try to find some helmets from somewhere because they never wore them normally. But they had an Aussie 70-year-old who was still on an English wicket, was still getting them to duck and weave.
Was that Sachin Tendulkar versus Shane Warne 11 for charity? I think
the one in America.
Was it the one in America? And Sherba Freedy was bowling. No, not Freedy. Sherbakta
yes.
Bowling, and he was still bowling.
He was very fast and very wayward, if I remember.
Yeah, but you could see the batsman on the other side going, "God, this is a charity game. Calm down.
Ease off, mate. Ease off."
I was trying to think there that Shahid Afridi might qualify for the over 70s because no one knows what the actual.
No one knows what age he actually is. Yeah, so you can play in almost any age group, I should think.
And of course, the big worry about over 70s, I've been told, is the off season and surviving it.
Surviving
the next year.
Well, we've always got defibrillators on standby, even in the 50s.
Yeah. Not had to use one of them yet.
I'll go on then. I'll tell you what's happened in our. I'm going to present this as neutrally as I can and see what you think of this. So, in our over 50s league, we had a meeting in October with the 9 captains and representatives, and we voted by 8-1 to play our fixtures on Wednesdays this year. Because what happens is the first team play on Wednesdays, the second team play on Thursdays. It's kind of awkward because then you have to start juggling who's available for which day, and it's a pain in the arse, basically. If you have them both on Wednesdays, you just ask everybody, are you available on Wednesday, and then you pick your teams like a club side.
Yeah.
So we thought that would be a good idea. But then because some counties had another commitment, they had 3 teams rather than 2, they were playing in another league that wanted to play on Wednesdays. And so, in January, without any further consolation, we got an email saying fixtures are on Thursdays. After we voted 8-1 for Wednesdays. And it turned out the league organiser had been, I'll say, petitioned by a couple of these counties, and they said, oh, we can't play on Wednesdays, it's too much for us. So he just changed it without even telling anyone else. Thoughts so far?
Sounds like a backhander.
I don't think it's that. So then...
Is he the one standout in the 8-1 vote?
No, actually. That was just one county, who I won't name, were just being bloody awkward, and if everybody else voted right, they would vote left. So I've got to a point in life where I don't take this shit anymore. And while being diplomatic, bearing in mind that I'm still representing my county, I expressed my dissatisfaction with this. This went back and forward for about 3 weeks, with some people reasonably enough saying, yeah, but it's got to be one day or the other because we don't want to mix the days. So the organiser, who was the one for change the decision, said, all right, I'll give you some options which you can vote on. So he gave us 4 options. Thursday, which was what he changed it to, split into two groups. One group plays on Wednesdays and one group plays on Thursdays, which no one had asked for. Option 3, wind up the league and play friendlies. Option 4, wind up the league and play play in the other league. End of list.
Sounds like Thursdays or nothing.
Yes,
It's the most
kind of least worst option under those.
I found it just staggering. We're going to play in the other league next year. You can be sure about that if I have anything to do with it. But it just goes to show, in any democracy, it's all about who decides what you get to vote on.
Sounds like there's a bit of gerrymandering of the options there.
It was. Once he said that, I just started laughing. But we've said we're going. And the way I expressed this, I said we are going to abstain on the fixtures question because the options presented are not a reasonable reflection of the debate.
That is a start and a half from Knuckle there on the chat. In the last 7 days, England have lost 13 for 66 runs across 10,000 miles.
That's... Oh, okay. You're talking about the 3 for 0 in the Ashes. Okay, yeah.
Have you forgotten, Andy?
Yes.
In fact,
why don't you take over, David? I'll have a little break.
Okay, thanks very much, Andy,
And
for
to see about-
entertaining as always.
Well, we'll
That
see you
story-
after 8 overs if West Indies haven't already got them by then.
Yeah, that story of yours reminded me of the parish councillor, you know, in the
I had it was quite similar to that.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So if you're squeamish, look away from the TV sex. You're going to see some very tame dismissals in England's top order. Probably the tamest, probably Morgan and Moeen Ali. It's a perfect timing, I think, to be able to welcome to the box someone who's going to have enjoyed that first innings enormously. I'm just going to wait to see if we're going to be joined by the man behind CaribbeanCricket.com. He's done a fantastic job for West Indies cricket. I think we've got some CaribCricket.com followers watching us tonight. So whilst Mashal Hewitt St Patrick is getting ready after his trip from Bromley, Mashal, were you down at the Bromley ground today for your other great love?
Gentlemen, no, I was not today, you know. I was I was too busy making sure I was ready for this today, so I was mentally preparing myself.
Oh, you were in like a meditation state?
Yeah, I was fearing the worst, but all is good now, you know.
Yeah, I hope it was a better meditation state than the England top order today. They looked like they'd been ambushed again. I was going back in time, Mashal, to 2019, the ambush in the Test match when England went out full of overconfidence, thinking it was going to be easy, and they were rolled over for 55 in the first Test. It was a bit like that when we were. What were they at one stage? England today were 29 for 5, 39 for 6. 49 for 7. At that point, Mashal, how are you feeling?
I mean, don't obviously cock a hoop with the performance, and I mean, first things first. Before I criticise England, there are positives, obviously. Other than the score, there are some positives to take from this West Indies performance. This is the sharpest I've seen us in the field in a very long time, where it's hard to fault anyone's performance. The outfielding's been on point. They bowled to specific lines. But if I'm going to be critical of England, and that's not to take away from how well West Indies have played, England to me played as if you could just come out and just start going from ball one.
Yeah.
On this, nobody seemed to take the time to assess what the deck might be doing, and Holder and Shelder, or Jason Sheldon I should say, bowled basically test match lengths up front. Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, England have had great success from going bang bang straight at the top of an innings in this format of cricket, but in cricket you sometimes do have to go back to basics, and if bang bang isn't working, maybe you just have to consolidate and assess what's actually going on. I think Owen Morgan tried to do that for a bit, but no one else was really trying that. Well,
Morgan couldn't get a bat on it, could he, for the first few from Holder was bowling it across him, and if there'd been a second slip he would have been a goner at a time when he's playing and missing a lot. I thought that was the only mistake Pollard made today, captain really well. But yeah, It was a great opening spell from Jason Holder. He reminds us what a top-class performer he is. And every so often, Mashal, on the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, which you know I love, I get not an anti-Holder, no, by no means. I just thought maybe the relish with which when he stepped down as captain, I don't know, there was just something where I often feel, does Mashal really appreciate what you've got in Jason Holder?
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because I think there's some merit in what you say. But what I've always said is Jason Holder is a fantastic all-rounder. I did not believe that Jason Holder was a fantastic captain. I've never believed he was a fantastic captain. But the problem with that is when you have a fantastic player and you don't believe they're a fantastic captain, the two things can get conflated to almost mean that you're criticising the player. I've never ever doubted Jason Holder's ability and his contribution to West Indies cricket, but
he wasn't in your. As you know, I listen to Caribbean cricket a lot, Caribbean Cricket Podcast, because it's fantastic service for West Indies supporters. But I was surprised that you didn't put more of a protest up that Holder wasn't in the starting lineup for the World Cup squad when the likes of Ravi Rampal were getting a game. Surely the world's gone mad.
Well, do you know what? I never had Holder in my team, and I'll still stand here now and attest to the fact that I didn't believe he was an automatic pick. And this is the thing, because Jason's one of the few good players we've got, everyone believes he should be an automatic pick in all formats of cricket. So, for example, right now, he doesn't get into my ODI side. He gets into the ODI side by default of being Jason Holder, not because of the merits of his actual performance. So when I was looking at the ODI team ahead of the World Cup, all I said was I'm not sure he's a certainty to start in the team. He should have been in the squad. I had him not being in the squad I thought was weird. I thought he should have been in the 15. But because I didn't have him in my 11, I wasn't bothered that he wasn't necessarily in it, so to speak. But
do you know, Mashal, I realise I'm being utterly churlish starting off our conversation like this. I want to congratulate you on a brilliant Caribbean Cricket Podcast and for all the great things that you have done for West Indies cricket supporters. The interviews with the likes of Hetmeyer was a personal favourite, I love the fact that you want Puran to play a test match more than anything else. What you said on T'other Channel the other day on the preview, I'd love to see that too. And what you got absolutely right for me in your discussion on West Indies cricket on a rival network, which unfortunately I can't name.
Oh, let's not name them.
No, not on this occasion. I don't mind when they haven't got the rights, I'll name them. But when they have, I'm not going to name them. You said that you really hit the nail on the head with, what can West Indies do to prevent the talent drain? Here in this series, Odin Smith, Jason Holder, they're bumping up their IPL worth. You yourself broke the story, I think, that there was a huge number of West Indies players putting themselves forward in the auction for huge sums of money in the IPL, and you nailed on the head there. How does West Indies deal with this almost opposition between Test cricket and white ball cricket?
I actually don't have any answers. We're back to the start, so we'll fill you in later, but
yeah,
we have started.
We've just missed the first ball. I was so intent on that, getting the answer from Mashal on that one. And meanwhile, live in the present, as Kyron Pollard said. We've had the first ball. It's Brandon King and Shai Hope opening the batting with a target of 104. Here's Saqib Mahmood. We'll be jingling him up in a moment, bowling right arm over. Let's come off the pad of King, but it's going to go. Did he have a bat on that? It's gone down to long leg for 4. Let's wait for the umpire's signal. It was a bat on that. Forgive me. It's a nice shot, a leg glance for 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Brandon King, never been given before. He scores runs just for fun in the Caribbean sun where nobody else has scored more.
Here's Mahmood bowling to Brandon King. He sends back his partner. They thought about a single. It's hit the stumps at the non-striker's end. I think he's made his ground. What's happened there? There was a bit of a comedy confusion with King sending back Shai Hope, but I think Hope has made his has made his ground. Let's see this underarm throw. Yeah, he's comfortably in, but it was certainly stop-start from these two. Have they opened before, Mashal, King and Hope?
No, they haven't. It's going to be really interesting because obviously one of them is basically placeholding for Evan Lewis. But if Hope, I think it's King and Lewis when Evan comes back. I'll break off for this ball.
Here's Mahmood bowling to King. It flays at that one outside the off stump, makes no contact. Just remind us, Mashal, why is Evan Lewis not playing today? What's his injury?
So he got COVID, which is why he missed the ODIs versus Ireland. And when they picked the squad, they basically kind of were forced to just not pick him as well for the England T20s, regardless of if and when he recovers. But he should be back for the India tour. There's another couple of notable absentees that I'm going to ask you about in a moment, as Saqib Mahmood, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Saqib Mahmood prepares to bowl to King again, and King almost he chops that one down onto mid-wicket and runs through for a single. So two other players we haven't seen today. Shimron Hetmeyer is one, and I've completely forgotten the other one I was going to mention, the notable absentee. Sunil Narain, because King of T20s. Andre Russell would be another. Just talk us through. Be interesting to know your insights into why those people are missing today. Is it all injured or what? Let's go with let's leave Hetmeyer to the last, because that one will get me the angriest. Not the famous fitness, failing of fitness test. These inconsistent fitness tests, whereby Raheem Cornwall can pass and Hetmeyer can't. Here's Mahmood. He bowls, and that's played down to mid-off. Hope calls for a quick single, and they make their ground. And here's some entertainment. So England all out for 103. 104 is the target, and it's been a fantastic heist by West Indies of England, reminiscent of 2019, the last heist. England may have been overconfident. Certainly the top order looked like they were today, and as you were saying, Mashal, they were going for the shots too early, but also some of the suspect defence that we saw in the Ashes from their test match counterpoints. Jason Holder with 4 for 7, Koch with 2 for 30. Most definitely. I'm just going to quickly return to your point. So Sunil Narain, I don't think we'll ever see him in West Indies colours ever again. I think that's it. I think he's done. There was an interview with Dwayne Bravo recently on Sportsmax, and I'll break off. Here's Chris Jordan now into the attack, bowls to Shea Hope. It's short. Hope plays a nice shot off the back foot, gets a lot of bat on this, times it nicely. It's gone down to the long on boundary for 4.
Chris Jordan's back will make him cry. More England caps will soon draw nigh. Or if they don't, then it will seem he'll wish he'd joined the Windies team.
That's funny. I've not heard that one before. Jordan, he batted well today, and that's played down by Hope, and that's a single. You've got good odds today, 12-1 Jordan to be top scorer in this game. Who'd have thought it? But he has done well here before, and it was a nice innings for him, wasn't it, Mash? That's played out for a single, 11 for no wicket. West Indies chasing 104. Yeah, seems lazy to say, but I think, of course, there's kind of the added feeling of playing in Barbados and wanting to do well. Absolutely, he did fantastically well last time he was here. Jason Roy waiting in he's a solitary slip as Jordan bowls to Brandon King, who plays that into extra cover, and there's no run. So we've got a few Jamaicans in this team for a change. Brandon King, Fabian Allen, my favourite player, and there's one other, isn't there? Sheldon Cottrell. Dean Smith and Sheldon Cottrell. Oh, right, yes. So it's a long time since we've had 4 Jamaicans in the team. Yeah, no, for real. I was actually thinking that pre-match that and Rodman Powell, is he in the squad? I can't remember. He is in the squad. Yeah, got to go back to the days of Chris Gale, Marlon Samuels, Darren Powell, until we had so many Jamaicans in the team. down. That's played nicely off his legs by one of the Jamaicans, Brandon King, and that's gone down to the leg side, and there's no run. One run. Hope moves on to 6. King's on 6. 12 for no wicket. We're in the second over. So Narayan's never going to play again. What about Alzari Joseph's not in this team, is he?
So this answers one of your earlier issues. So Alzari Joseph is currently in the Bangladesh Premier League. Who would have thought that Alzari Joseph would become one of those T20 players as well? But to give him to defend him, it's not like he was picked, so he has every right to go and play in the Bangladesh Premier League. So that's more a selection issue for me.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a few of those. On the back foot goes Hope, plays a typical Shai Hope stylish shot into offside, but it's really well fielded by Jason Roy. Joseph is in the reserves, of course, along with Jaden Seals, the really promising fast bowler, and Devon Thomas, who seems to have sort of come back from the dead for his sort of 7th coming. He never goes away, Devon Thomas. It's like bringing Devon Smith into the team. I just don't see the logic.
I'm sure Devon Smith will be in the test squad.
And Grenada, who put demand a place. Jordan bowls, and that's played flat batted by Hope, a tall man, and runs fast down for a single. So there's no mistaking these two. Shai Hope, much smaller of the two. Brandon King, tall, slim, stylish right-hander. Fabian Allen, Mashal. I had the occasion to meet him once after a press function at West Indies. And the first thing he said to me, when I said, "Are you very much a white ball player?" he very sternly rebuked me and said he had, I think it's 4 first-class centuries, might be 2, but I think it's 4. And he was very, very insistent on that. He wants test match plays. I think he's good enough. What do you think?
Fabian Allen averages 32 in first-class cricket. He's yet another example of someone like a Pollard who averages 38 in first-class cricket, where everyone just said, well, no, they're just a white ball player, and that's the be-all and the end-all of it. Unlike Pollard, though, who's coming to the end of his career, Fabian Allen is still very young, but I guarantee he'll never play a test match.
It's all wrong, isn't it? We'll talk about that in a moment as Mahmood continues. That's a really nice Yorker. It's dug out, though, well by Hope, and there's no run there. That was spot on the money. Yeah, that annoys me that so many talented players are being not given the chance in test match cricket. Evan Lewis, people say, oh, he's not so keen. Make him keen. Force him to play. Make a deal with him. And don't insist on ridiculous qualification rules and all the rest of it when they're playing in lucrative leagues. There has to be some flexibility. I'm going to hand over to you, Jason, shortly for some tweets. You won't be getting behind. And it's 13 for no wicket with King on 6, Hope on 7, West Indies chasing just 104. And it's Mahmood left out of the Ashes squad. That's clipped away nicely by Hope. It's gone a long way, but not to the boundary, but it's gone over the heads of the infield. Flops up about 10 yards out, and they've taken 2, I think. That was a nice looking shot from Hope.
Yep, just a nice little chip shot in the air, more high than distance, that one. Warren says, maybe you can tour places with equal quality teams. Does Liechtenstein have a cricket team? To which Evan Scott Nat says, I put money on Iceland cricket, probably to beat England at this rate. And
Gallows humour
says, after this,
Gallows humour on the Twitterati. Mahmood, that's tucked away by Hope to mid wicket, and there's no run there. 15 for no wicket. We're in the third over.
ESPN Plus just showed us all the wickets. What a shower! Ugh. And Joe Shake says, have Morgan's eyes gone? Well, if Morgan's eyes gone, then that's the end of Morgan, because he hasn't got that much technique to back up his wonderful eye and hand-eye coordination that he's had for the last decade.
Mahmood is walking back to his mark. The ground's 50% full today, not because they couldn't sell the tickets. It's for reasons of health and safety and COVID and all that. A lot of England fans at the Kensington Oval.
It must be 95% England fans.
Yeah, which is a shame. You're not getting the atmosphere he bowls, and that's playing away beautifully through mid-wicket. That is sort of shot that makes all those Shai Hope fans realise why they like him so much. Great shot for 4 through the mid-wicket boundary.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that, David, because I said something at the top which I want to kind of get into. Lewis and King will open when Evan is back, but Shai can put himself into the frame if he can have like 2 or 3 good games versus England, because we know that Hope's test career is going nowhere, so there's nothing to stop him also having a T20 career.
Absolutely. There's two people. Yeah, too quick to put people in boxes. He plays that one down to leg side. There's no run. It amazes me, and there's no consistency with this. Roston Chase is suddenly a T20 player on the back of a good CPL. Shea Hope sort of floats around could be floating around the middle order. There doesn't seem to be any line or logic to who gets included in which format. Sheldon Cottrell not in the 50 over. I don't know. And Evan Lewis, you look at him and he's gone 30 now, isn't he? And you think, right, he's not going to play any Test matches. And you're saying the same fate could befall Fabian Allen. Is that short-sightedness, or is that just a fact of life because there's so many franchises? I mean, it should be possible to arrange it, shouldn't it? And Hope bowls, and that's a lovely ball ducks back in from Mahmood to Hope. And Mahmood, that was a moral victory there because Hope wasn't in control of that. Came off the edge, drifted down. End of the over.
Any tweets, Jason, before I answer that?
Yep. Nick Martin says to us, "Are you padded up?" Talking about the England collapse. I think I'm actually quite chuffed that you suggested we could actually do better than the England players. And Wandering Bloke, the general thing is just saying to people, try guerrilla cricket. For people who are looking for commentary and discussion about the match. The selection thing. I mean, it's interesting, Mashal. Just going back to West Indies for a moment, England with a slight pause before we wait for the next over. We're going to have a jingle for the new bowler in one moment, or we're going to have it now.
Adil Rashid on the 45. 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 Adil can turn it both ways. Adil can turn it. Adil can turn it both ways. Adil can turn it. Adil can turn it both ways.
He certainly can. Which way is this one going to turn? Look like the straight one. King drives it back. Go for a single. It's eluded him there. Mashal, you were talking about the rebuilding process, and this is part of the rebuilding process. Can I challenge you there?
Go.
There was a rebuilding process going on. It was interrupted by bringing back like a vaudeville act from the bringing back the likes of Ravi Rampal, Dwayne Bravo, Andre Russell. Who weren't
Blue Feathers, you mean?
Yeah, they weren't. There was already some rebuilding going on, but it's been interrupted by the strange selection decisions that have gone on. And it meant that a rebuilding process had to restart. Next ball's fired down the leg side. There's no one. Do you take my point, Mashal? That
I'm 50-50 on that. So
Back to the Future.
Let's take someone like Brandon King. Brandon King should have gone to the T20 World Cup.
Absolutely.
But Brandon King his own form was very, very poor. I'll continue in a minute.
Here's and that's a short. It's dross from Rashid. It could have hit it anywhere, but he's hit it along the ground, but to the fielder down on the deep square leg boundary. Banton does the fielding, so just one to Hope, who moves on to 14, and West Indies are 21 for no wicket in the fourth over.
So if I continue, so King had a very poor 2020, COVID notwithstanding.
Rashid bowls, that's played out into covers, an excellent bit of fielding, and there's no one. I think that's Jason Roy there.
Which then means you have to ask yourself, if the opener is struggling and there's no one else putting their name up in CPL, you go to the one guy who's got 14,000 T20 runs and say, well, go to experience. Doesn't mean it was the right thing to do, but I understand why they did it. Because that's more an indictment of the lack of people putting their hands up in domestic cricket.
Well, I'm going to challenge you on that too in a moment. I'll come back to you, Mash. That's missed. Everyone's missed that, including the keeper, Sam Billings. Maybe suffering from jet lag. It went straight through him there. 4 leg byes, and West Indies will take them anywhere they can get them at the moment. 25 for no wicket.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it's 4 leg byes outside off stump with the batsman so far outside off stump.
Yeah, I was going to make a point. Yeah, here's and that's again short from Rashid. He's not found his length here, and that's hit away for an easy single down to the square leg boundary. These are some. Well, this is not what Owen Morgan's looking for from Rashid at this stage. They're only defending 103, and Rashid is. I mean, there's more pies being distributed here than in a Frey Bentos factory. It's help yourself time.
I'm not complaining. Keep it going.
Sir Garfield Sobers in the crowd, sitting in his customary position in the committee room, if ever a person deserved to sit in the front row of the Barbados Cricket Association box. It's Sir Garfield Sobers. Wonderful to see the great man here, enjoying a chat with a female companion. Wonderful Garfield, the great Sir Garfield, fantastic all-rounder and captain. Whose curry, yes. Oh, well, yeah, Mackles reminded me of this. Here's an interesting bit of trivia. His takeaway curry was once accidentally picked up by Phil Salt, a member of the England squad who lived in West Indies between the ages of 9 and 15. He lived in Barbados, and he lived in that area around the Bay area where the Sobers lived, him and his brother nearby. And yeah, the local takeaway, Phil Salt picked up Gary Sobers' order, took it back home, found the name Sobers on it. I think he got it back to the rightful owner. It's a change of bowling, and Liam Dawson into the attack, and that's on the back foot goes King, and there's a chance for a run out at the non-striker's end. Again, sent back. Hope was sent back by King. Hope's giving him a meaningful stare there. There's no run and the no damage done in the end. And there is Phil Salt in the dugout next to Jofra Archer. I was just about to say two Sussex colleagues sitting together, and then I realised in a bittersweet moment that Phil Salt has gone to Lancashire, and it's probably only a matter of time before Jofra joins Chris at Surrey.
Easier to say two Bajans sitting together.
Yeah, that's true. Dawson bowls down the wicket. Comes King, plays that really nice shot, lofted off drive, very safe shot, got nicely to the ball, pitch of the ball. It's gone down to long off for a single, and that looks good from Brandon King, who's last. He's putting together some innings to justify his talent, and he could play all formats, couldn't he, Mashal?
Brandon King should never have got into the West Indies T20 side. Obviously he did off the back of a brilliant CPL 2019, but Brandon was all set to be named in the West Indies Test squad in 2019, and now look.
Well, let's hope he can get his place back, because there's that's next one. Just a little bit of spit and purchase in that ball from Dawson, who had an inglorious stay at the crease earlier today. It was painful to watch. 2 runs off 9, or 1 run I think it was, off 9 balls before a comedy run out. He bowls now slow left arm, bowling to Hope, who plays forward defensive, classic from Hope. Sorry, Mashal, what were you saying?
Yeah, maybe you want to draw a parallel. Maybe you want to draw a parallel with England and what they're going to have to do reselection. So obviously England turn up for the tests in March, but Brandon will be in India with the T20 squad, so he'll play no first class games.
This one's just a bit shorter. It allows Hope to go on the back foot, plays it hard down to long off for a single. 28 for no wicket. It's looking a bit too easy for the West Indies here as we head for the end of the 5th over. The required rate is just 5 runs and over. Phil Simmons for once is right to look relaxed, as King goes across his stumps, tries to play it away from outside the off stump, tries to take it onto the leg side. I think that must have struck him outside the line and didn't make any contact. That's the end of the over. King on 9, Hope on 15, 28 for no wicket.
Mog says, did I hear someone say there's a West Indian with an average of 37 in domestic cricket? Get him in the England team, stat!
I just remembered what I was going to say to Mashal, Jason. Can I just interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
In your point about not enough people pushing for places in the World Cup squad, yet Odean Smith wasn't in it, and he'd done well. And as a young player who'd done well in that CPL or whatever limited overs tournament it was, he could have been in there on the back of his domestic white ball form, for example. And that's played out to leg side for a single. Could say the same about Shepherd.
Okay, so I'll answer that. With Odean Smith,
yeah,
I hear that. He's had one good CPL.
Yeah.
Do you then debut him in the World Cup? I'm not convinced you do that. I think I think they've done the right thing in debuting him after the World Cup.
Right, yeah. This one is short, not so short, but it's easily got on top of by King, who plays it down to long on. It's deep mid on. Jordan's close enough to save the single, so there's no run there, and we're at 29 for no wicket. as Rashid bowling his gives that one some air, floats it right up. It's very full and it's just dug out. Yeah, Carl Mayers is in this squad. How close do you think he is to the first 11, Mashal?
If he's going to play, he's going to open, but I understand why Hope is currently the incumbent, because Hope went to Pakistan. I'd like to see Carl Mayers play in the ODI team, to be honest.
That's a good point. Outside, that nearly bowled King. It was the wrong one, and he didn't read it, and he's lucky to get away with that. As it is, they take a single with an inside edge down to short fine leg, and King moves on to 10, a little bit fortuitously there.
Bottom edge saved him, I think.
It was pretty close to the stumps, and here he is, Rashid again. This one spins away. It's the classic leg spinner, and Hope has plenty of time to go on the back foot, play that comfortably out to long on for single. So he's on 17 and King on 10. Yeah, it's been so much. I suppose my back to the future point, Mashal. I will make this point at the end of the over. Here comes, and there's a big hit by King. It's a long one. It's gone way back, out of the ground. For 6 over long on. Lovely shot from Brandon King.
You came out of your hand and into my zone. Now it's up in the stands. It's a 6. It's beautiful and it's mine.
I think we're changing at the end of the next over. I think that's right. Knackle can give me a nod. Yes. We're changing now. Okay. So I'm going to pass over with that. Great talking to you, Mash and Jason. And I'm going to hand over to Knackle to take on the coverage.
It's actually Andy Ward. Mash, given that this game could end fairly quickly, do you want to just stay on? Oh, he's already gone. Never mind.
I'm back again.
Okay, cool. Yeah, given that this game's going to end fairly quickly, you may as well stay on.
No worries.
Is that for yourself? Shall I stay on ball by ball?
Yeah, yes, in place of me. Colin can jump back on.
Well, West Indies 37 for no wicket at the end of the power play, which wouldn't normally be much of a power play, but here they're comfortably ahead of the rate. Dawson is back in. Onto the back foot goes Hope, out to cover for no run. Mash, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I haven't seen you in a long time.
No.
Not a long time.
Oh, a lot of happy reunions this evening.
Yeah, I was going to say. But yeah, no. In terms of the match, I'm doing very, very well though.
Understandably, Dawson's in again. Going for that fooled everybody. He went for a little paddle sweep there. Hope. Billings was halfway down the leg side, but he actually almost came off the back of his bat, I think. No, he's missed it. It's a leg by. Ran down through first, slipped for a single. Dawson, I was surprised to see, seems to be around the T20 squad forever. He's only played 7 T20 internationals.
Yeah, I was going to...
Never really had a run in the team as a first choice. He's in again, and Hope misses the cut shot.
It's going to be really interesting. As much as I can speak about the West Indies, it's going to be really interesting for me to see which England players by the end of this series have pushed themselves into reckoning, if possible.
Made a case. I hope they all get a couple of games. I think they should. There's like Garton and Salt, and one or two more have escaped me. Brooke, yeah. That one's played back to the bowler. There is no run. Dawson doing well so far. 10 balls, 2 runs. Unfortunately, West Indies not under any scoreboard pressure.
Knackle has informed that this is Dawson's first international since October 2018.
Yep. And that one, he's steps away, but still gets an inside edge down to fine leg. There's no one there. Short third man is round. They pick up 240 for no wicket. Yeah, Jason says it is hard to be the third spinner in a squad with Moeen and Adil, and with Livingston also bowling very serviceable spin. It's a bit of a rare outing for Dawson. Yeah. And you don't need to be a lip-reading expert to see what he said there after that ball. The last one was me. Left arm round, completely over. Back of the wicket. Oh, and it just... No, I think the fielder was caught in two minds there at cover. He didn't know whether to stick or twist. It went past him in the end, didn't do either. Up to long off for a single, but a quarter of a chance there. But England need to take 40 quarter chances to win this game. It's 41 for no wicket.
Any tweets?
Not many tweets on Andy's team of over 70s. Gary Sobers is now 85.
I'm sure I wouldn't like to face him.
That'd be frightening.
I played with two of his great nephews.
Okay.
Good lads, good players.
Almost 65 years since HSI Babo, and nearly 50 years since he retired for first class game. No, actually, sure that's reference of. Over on YouTube, it's not really moving at all.
Well, I think your long sigh sort of sums up the England fans' view of this game so far, probably.
New bowler.
Change of bowling.
I see a bad back of bowling. I see T20 specialized. I've seen him bowling quick as lightning.
Certainly can be quick. It's Tamal Mills. It's onto the legs. It would have been a wide if he let it go, and perhaps he should have done, because he just gets wand out to deep square. And we saw a little graphic there with West Indies, unfortunately, 10th out of 10 in the T20 ICC rankings, so the only way is up.
Yeah, it makes sense. Of course, we have to qualify to even get into the proper rounds of the World Cup. I shouldn't call it proper rounds, but you know what I mean. Of the World Cup, with the fixtures were out this Thursday, I believe they were.
Fixtures for qualification.
The groups were.
Okay, Mills is in. Oh, and that whizzes past the outside edge. We saw a few of those in England's innings. That was a good one from Mills. Too good for hope.
Actually, no, I think I did see a tweet from the ICC saying they showed the groups and the teams and the qualifiers who were playing each other.
Yeah, so West Indies have been paired with Scotland, and whichever two global qualifiers come through. Naka will correct me, but I think if West Indies were to win that group, they would go in with India, Pakistan, and whoever else is in that group. So it's not like we've got an easy path to...
This is the T20 World Cup in Australia.
Yeah, in Australia, yeah.
Going to be the one before, right? Yeah. There's always going to be some issues with deciding these things on rankings. They should have some proper leagues or something. Mills is in. And again, he's quick, but he's a little bit full, and it's clipped out to deep mid wicket. Will be a single.
The one thing I was unaware about the whole tournament and the scheduling and all the debate about all that, they were saying that it's not actually televised anywhere, the draw, which I was surprised.
Oh no, these draws are completely rigged.
Do you know what? I thought the same thing.
Group.
I thought the exact same thing. When I saw India and Pakistan were in the same group, I was like, hold on a minute.
It's not even up for questioning. Well, they just do it and sort of dare you to say something about it. For people saying FIFA and corrupt, and it is, at least every World Cup they don't go, hey, look everybody, Brazil and Argentina in the same group. What a game that's going to be again.
So Nakala's confirmed that group, I think it's B, is India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and South Africa, plus whatever two qualifiers came through, which will be in the other group is New Zealand, Australia, England, and someone I'm missing out.
So, no, you said South Africa.
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Mills is going to come in. And that's hoisted away, but is it long enough? Well, yes and no. It's long enough to beat the fielder. It's not long enough to go for 6. And then the fielder was chasing after it. Chris Jordan's normally very good. He didn't really get down to flick that one back, and it's gone for 4. Yeah, like I say, using rankings for that kind of thing can open the door for shenanigans. And as a measure of how accurate they can be, Australia are top of the test rankings, having managed not to play an away test in 3 years.
Yeah, absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
Absolute foolishness.
Haven't won an away series since 2016. Mills comes in, and it's a cut shot, and the quicker you bowl it, the quicker it goes, but point is there, and that will be a single. Well, yeah, Knackle says the rankings don't rate home and away games differently. That's the whole point. Home games are easier. like massively.
Yeah. It's very strange. On the tweets, Moggs came out with a question, but I'm not sure in what reference to. Were they his great nephews since they were really good, or due to his lineage?
Due to they were the sons of his nephews. Yes, this is my great nephews of Garfield Sobers. Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm Forsyth. Hello all. My online class ran 45 minutes over. So I've just tuned in. Perhaps it was the universe trying to save me from whatever this is.
Yeah, played in a game once featuring Sober's great nephew on one side and Edrich's grandson on the other. Wasn't the same quality though.
So I don't know if you've got any Bayesians listening in, because I want to say something in a minute which only they can clarify. I'll wait for this ball.
Dawson comes in, it's lapped, it's in the air, but there's no one there. It's going to go out to long leg, and it's just going to be one.
So Sobers isn't necessarily, obviously he's a hero, but I don't know how much of a hero he is. Recently, because obviously Barbados is now a republic, and Garfield did an interview where he basically said, I shed tears when we broke away from the UK. It's the wrong thing to do. Basically did the whole colonialism thing, and that did not go down well with a lot of people.
I shouldn't think it did. That one's clipped out to deep square.
It's unsurprising enough. I've been, sir and everything as well. So it's...
Now, obviously, he's over 80, and I'm not saying if you're over 80, you are going to have a definitive point of view. But obviously,
but you're also saying
a different context.
You're also saying, okay, boomer.
I mean...
Full ball and well bowled from Dawson. It was a bottom edge almost from King, as in the actual foot of his bat slid underneath that, down to fine leg for a single.
Yeah, so Dave says he's still revered, and of course he is. But I just wonder, in the context of what was a historic moment for Barbados in terms of becoming a republic, I'm not convinced that was the time to be making that comment.
No, I just think it probably didn't really read the room there. As tipped away, it's going to be a quick single, and they will get through. Knackle references that lots of people didn't get on with Bradman. I think it's further. I think it's universally agreed that Bradman was a Bradman. Really.
Yeah, in fairness to Bradman, I've got a feeling at the time of when he was big, he was probably one of the most famous people in the world, easily.
Probably, certainly in Australia. He was certainly top dog in Australia.
Not that even England and the likes, they would have.
Oh, it's skewed away. Oh, and again, it's just gone nowhere. Really, that really could have gone anywhere. It's skewed off the bat down towards short third man, but it was too short for him. I think they got through for a single. He's been a bit unlucky, Dawson. He's induced some false shots. And that was 100% false shot, but... a
lot of inside edges and Chinese cuts as well.
Yeah.
If I can ask in a specific England question here, after this ball.
Yep, it's another one. I'm really not sure what that did. I think he's plain missed it. It's bounced off Billings' gloves, who's not having a great day behind the stumps, and gone all the way down to short third man so quickly they didn't get a run.
After the tweets, so I'll let Colin obviously the tweets, but I wonder where everyone stands on Matt Parkinson and whether he should be anyone near this squad. But that's for England fans to debate. But I'm surprised he's not in the conversation, so to speak.
Look at that. There's an entire stand of England fans there. I can't see a single mask.
But if you look at the Bayesians, though, they are wearing masks, by the way.
Yeah.
There is literally an invasion of the maskless.
Something for you. Anyway, Rashid is going to bowl. West Indies need 52 from 11 overs, which is not many runs per over in terms of international T20 cricket. And Rashid is going to bowl to Hope, who's been relatively untroubled, 20 off 24. Both these batsmen just under a run a ball, but it really doesn't matter. It's what their team wants them to do, but I think he's out. I think he's just been pulled out of the crease. Lovely bowling from Rashid. England like it. They're going to have a look. But I think he just tipped out of the crease here. It wasn't that he ran down the wicket. I think he just tipped out of the crease. And Billings, he's on his way. Billings took the bails off quite sharply.
Yeah, that doesn't even require third look even.
Oh yeah, he knows.
Yep, just overbalanced. He didn't charge the bowler. He just drawn forward, overbalanced.
What else that's going on? Mog, we had a whole hour's worth of televised announcement of the T20 schedule, but yeah, no draw itself. Martin
Crazy,
Lawrence,
isn't it?
I did hear some people saying having the same teams in the same group every tournament is slightly boring. Do you agree? Well, I think we've already said
it's a question of being boring. It's just wrong.
Wrong, boring, stupid.
Yeah.
Especially when the T20 is something it's meant to be entertaining and mixing it up and getting new unorthodox
I mean,
things.
let's face it, and these India-Pakistan games, they invariably disappoint in terms of being a contest.
Yeah, you want, in the grand old scheme of things, surely you would want India and Pakistan being in opposite groups because you want them to be against each other in a final or a semi-final.
No,
you would, but is the notion? Yeah, the notion has to be that they want a guarantee of one game.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
It's you know, it's crazy. I did see there were some people were talking about trying to get them playing each other outside a tournament by sort of having a four-way tournament: India, Pakistan, Australia, and England. But you know, if you want to play each other, just play each other. I know geopolitics.
It sounded silly up until the point that they were discussing it, saying, well, the revenues that we'll take from it will disperse out to all the nations.
Yeah, and you always pay your players. We totally believe you.
Yeah. it was like, it's a good principle, but I don't think it would happen quite that way.
No, Knackle's right. It was Ramesh Raja floated that, and I suppose he's trying at least. But it's a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
No, it's more than a bit of a joke the way these tournaments are run.
If we could keep a batsman or your kind of thing, let me introduce Nicholas Puran. Nick Puran often plays as a batsman. Nick Puran. Nick Puran made 143 in the under-19s. Nick Puran.
There you go. He's going to face up to Rashid. I wonder if he was carded at 3, or whether in such a low total they've decided to send him in. Rashid, who's at least got a wicket, and England avoid the ignominy of losing by 10 wickets. He's got a slip in now, and a very delicate little paddle. Got from Puran, reached it almost on the full, and he'll come back for 2 down to fine leg.
That was a lovely opening shot.
Yeah, played with the spin, so either he picked it or figured it would be the normal kind of delivery. Lovely piece of bowling, that previous wicket. Right where you'd want it as a leg spinner. And the batsman's just 6 inches out, but he's already at full stretch, no way he could get back. Oh, well, good job the slip was there that time, because Billings completely missed it. He bowled it across the left-hander. Billings was nowhere near it, and it was straight into the hands of Moeen, but due to the angle, it wasn't anywhere close to a wide.
Well, he took that 50-50 approach of maybe try and catch the ball from him actually hitting it, but thought, well, if I don't hit this, I'm just going to go straight on.
Yeah. Here he is again, and that one turns into the left-hander, and he clips into the leg side. He may have just he took the pace off it, but it's still only going to be 1.
I think there's been a lot of consternation in the Caribbean about whether Nicholas Puran should be batting at 3. So in the series we lost against Ireland, there was a lot of kind of huge disagreement about why was he put at 3. I personally agreed with it. I think you're not going to get these younger players developing if you don't put them in positions of responsibility and stop hiding them at number 5. But it's under huge debate in the West Indies at the moment.
Ooh, a thickish edge from King. The slip is in place, but it's well wide of him, and they're going to come back for 2 again, because I think it's beaten short third man as well. Out to Mills in the deep. Well, 50 over and 20 over still are somewhat different animals, and your batting order isn't going to be exactly the same between the two necessarily. 57 for 1, coming up to the end of the 10th over, the halfway point, but West Indies comfortably more than halfway to this small target of 104. And onto the back foot, bit of turn from Rashid, but it's too slow, too short. The batsman was able to negotiate it, but he could only punch it back to the bowler for no run. Rashid 1 for 17 off his 3, he's done his best, and it's 57 for 1 off 10.
Yeah, I think West Indies obviously benefiting from being able to just play a normal game here. They don't have to do anything out of the ordinary, and with England chasing wickets, they're going to have to bowl out their best bowlers sooner rather than later.
Of course, yep. Anything on social media, or has everyone just gone to bed?
No, on socials, most people are turning up now, oddly. Brian Barish, good day, cricket nerds. I thought England sent a different team for this series. Woof.
Well, different team, same shit.
Lord Flashheart, I think, Woof in there.
Dawson's been tidy enough, 3 overs for 9. But unfortunately, and while he's found the edge quite a lot, England need wickets.
So I've been trying to get some update from some Bayesian locals as to why there are no Bayesians there, and I've got several answers to this question if anybody's wondering, so I'll throw them out there. Please do.
Well, they're going to apply to the rest of the series because they're all played in Barbados. Past the outside edge again by Dawson. That's the one just went straight on to the left-hander.
So reason 1, they've been priced out.
That would have been my
naturally,
guess. Yeah.
Because Cricket West Indies have upped the prices knowing that the English fans are coming, which is understandable. I'll wait for this ball and give you reason number 2.
Yep, that would have been my guess for one of them. Yep. Left arm over Dawson to the left-hander. Gone for the sweep. Paran, he's got a bottom edge. It's gone down to short fine leg, and I think he got sent back there. Yep.
Reason 2.
For fielding.
Sorry, reason 2. Locals have been given a 50% discount, but it's a 50% discount on the England premium ticket.
Right, which is still going to be a lot. Again, that's not particularly tidy from Billings if it's a bye. He's missed it, and it's trickled down to Mills at short third for a single.
And the final reason is that, and like I say, this is just one person telling me who I trust to know, is that the Barbadian public are more COVID aware than than the travelling English fan base.
You couldn't be much,
so I'm more
less
cautious about the whole
thing. Well, Dawson is in, back round the wicket to the right-handed King, tips it into the leg side. Dawson goes after it himself, and that's an easy single.
I bloody helmet would be more aware than what was.
I think generally speaking in the Caribbean we don't have the healthcare systems to deal with
just going to say that I was spending some time before Christmas with a friend with a lot of Caribbean roots, and a lot of friends and family back there, and she lost people, and people were in hospital, and that's what she was saying. They just don't have the infrastructure to deal with it, so people are being that much more careful. I think that one's gone through as well. Dawson can't really believe it. He's bowled very well. He's beaten the bat no end of times. That was a sweep, which the batsman just missed. But he's not really got any reward.
Yeah, some other good points from Knuckle. Yeah, we obviously aren't playing very well either, which is also key. And the vaccine update. Sorry, I'll say after sport.
Across goes Paran, and is able to clip that one up to long on. Be an easy single, 60 for 1 at the end of the 11th.
Yeah, just in terms of the vaccine uptake, just to give people kind of the context, Barbados is actually one of the better islands in the Caribbean for vaccine uptake. The country that doesn't want to do it is Jamaica. We're right at the bottom for vaccine uptake. There is huge vaccine skepticism in Jamaica, but in Barbados it's over 50%, because of course you had to be double vaxxed and take a test to get into this game. But of course, before you even do all that, I think lots of the English fans had already bought the tickets anyway, because it's only 50%, it's only half full, so there wouldn't have been that many tickets available anyway.
Yeah, well, a bit of a shame. My friends from Trinidad, and I think they were somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
44 needed for the West Indies from 54 balls. Run rate obviously doesn't really matter, so they can do it at whatever pace they like. Moeen's going to have a bowl. Shall I have a jingle for him?
Our beard shouldn't touch. Move over, I'm low. I like it too much. Move over and love. You're one hairy dish I love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
And he's going to bowl to Pooran, so hopefully get some joy from his point of view, turning the ball away. But Pooran goes to the reverse sweep. It's a good bit of fielding by Mahmood at short third man, and he's kept it down to 2. Powerful sweep, but a good diving stop. Well, indeed.
Slap that hard.
Yeah, it was a slightly short from Moeen. It's obviously a premeditated shot, and sometimes when you do that, it almost becomes more like a sort of pull on one knee. Slipper's in place. Back he goes again, clips into the leg side. It'll be at least 1. I'm seeing the ball, I'm not seeing a fielder. Morgan is in, but he does keep it to 1.
Yeah, not surprised to see Moeen come in now that Pooran's at the wicket.
Makes
I think
sense.
Moeen even
Yeah.
alluded to before the match, they interviewed him and he said there's a lot of right-handers in the West Indies batting lineup, so I'm not sure how much I'll bowl today, but Pooran is one of the few left-handers.
As usual, Morgan's looking like the horse in Buckaroo. He's got a floppy hat, a baseball cap and a pair of sunglasses all perched on top of his head. Moeen just a shiny head and the beard as he comes into bowl. Over the wicket to the right hand, a bit of turn, but easy enough to negotiate. Punch up to long on for a single. It's 64 for 1.
So I've got an antagonistic question.
Nothing new.
For the Twitterati as well as everyone on Gorilla Cricket as well. I'll wait for this ball.
Going back into the left-hander. Short again, a strange shot from Pooran. He got it a little bit aerial, but completely safe because there was no one in that mid-on direction. That's another single.
So I fully acknowledge and accept that the West Indies had an atrocious 2020 World Cup. But England didn't get to the final. Relative to all the fogs and white ball, wasn't that a huge underachievement?
That one's clipped out towards deep mid-wicket, being an easy single. Well, when you get to the semi-final, it's one game. You can lose one game. You can be the best side in the world, and when you're up against someone decent, you're no more than 65% max to win. And maybe England have had the rub of the green in a few knockout games in previous tournaments. So I don't... But actually, failing to qualify from the group stages and the way they did it in some of the games... It's more than, I think the criticism of the West Indies, that was punched up too long on for a single, is more of the manner of it, don't you think? The 55 all out, the testimonial game against Australia.
The Lendl Simmons' worst innings that I've ever seen in his 20 game.
Yeah. I mean, that game against Australia was like a benefit match. I know they were already out, but it was really awful.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a good look. So I actually turned the TV off. That's how bad.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you on that one. Yeah, you can watch, club cricket down the park.
Yeah, Knuckles saying India was probably win though for actually worst performance, all things being considered.
Yeah, India were funny when they got battered by Pakistan, and then seemed to think the whole world was against them after that, which with tosses and so on, which isn't gonna. Don't think it helps.
Quickly get a couple of tweets in. Mayank, why did Morgan only get 16 tests between 2010 2012? He averaged over 30 in the red ball game.
Well, at the time, over 30 wasn't good enough to open. It is now. He was in a much better side, basically. England had much more quality batting at the time than they do now. I know now it'd be as good as anybody else. I'll give you another chance after this ball. It's Jordan back into the attack around the wicket, shorter and pulled up to mid-on. It's beaten mid-on, who's up. That's a nice shot from Pooran, picks up 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Chris Jordan's back will make him cry. More England caps will soon draw nigh. Or if they don't, then it will seem he'll wish he'd joined the Windies team.
Not generally, but maybe today, as he comes in, and that's pushed into the offside. Now cover makes a diving stop, and there's no run. Yeah, let's catch up with tweets before we hand over.
UNNS, poor travel planning will lead me to being unable to see any of the Scotland quali games in October. Think the West Indies Scotland game will be fun. Yeah, I can imagine that'll be quite good. Any game with the West Indies tends to be fun.
Something will happen, yeah.
Armchair Cricket Podcast. Call the physio, did that ball not scone the wicket keeper? At least he sighted the ball well.
Yeah, I thought it might have done, actually, but I think it was put down as a single. That one's cut down to deep backward point for another run.
Scone the wicket keeper. I heard that term.
Oh, absolutely. Hit on the head is stunning them, yeah.
Mog, you can't have Pakistan and India playing each other in a final. What if India loses?
Well, it happened in the old Champions Trophy.
Of course, yeah.
The way Pakistan are playing at the minute, I wouldn't say they wouldn't do it as well. Looked frightening in the last tournament.
Yeah, they're a very good T20 team. India are funny. They if Hardik's not fit, I think they really lack an all-rounder, and they have someone coming in at 7 who's not very good in both the white ball formats. Jordan is in, and that's clipped into the leg side for an easy single up to mid-on. In fact, they're going to come back for 2. It's that easy single. It was a tight 2, but they made it.
I think Pakistan did the right thing. They just took a couple of years out of the limelight of being potential winners and gathered their team up to build pace, and they ended up becoming a really good team by the end of it. And they just kind of dark horsed it sort of then.
Before we hand over, I'm going to leave a question for people to consider.
Yorker from Jordan, it's a good one. That's often what he's known for. It's back to the bowler for no run.
Would you, and I'm saying as England fans, take a T20 World Cup in Australia win over Test cricket improving this year?
That's a bit of a loaded question. I would. Nobody else would.
It's still, I mean, it's a world competition at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jordan is in, and it's pulled away by King, not in the gap. That'll be another single. It's 75 for 1. I don't think we'll be with you for too much longer. Certainly not expecting the whole innings, but we will hand over and hopefully see you guys later in the series.
Yep. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, Marshall. Thank you, Colin. Andy's going to move over to ball by ball. Dave Brooks is going to come on and summarise the end of this game, which the West Indies have had sewn up for some time, having bowled England out for 103. Jason Holder and Sheldon Cottrell doing the damage up top with 2 wickets and 4 wickets respectively, although 2 of Holder's were right at the end. West Indies have plodded their way towards victory, going under a runner ball. Both Brandon King and Shea Hope in their first outings as a T20 international opening pair, going under a runner ball. But the West Indies need 30 off 43 balls. If this were a slower pitch, or one of those pitches that we saw towards the end of the IPL, you might think that this is a way to play yourself into trouble, but there's plenty of life in this wicket. Tamal Mills is going to try and extract some life from it, coming back in.
Did you say plodded, Knackle? Plodded? I haven't seen any plodding from West Indies. Are we watching the same match?
Oh, they've been going at under a run a ball, and they've been batting for 13 overs.
Yeah, but the fielders, they've been finding the fielders, but they've been playing some attacking shots, some nice shots at times, and I think King's paced it really well.
Tamal Mills is round the wicket now to Brandon King. That's a gorgeous shot from King.
Shot,
little bit too wide from Tamal Mills, but not that wide, and it was cut very hard past backward point for 4. Maybe not plodded, ambled like they're taking the air in the park.
I think they've played some really stylish shots, and King's lot to like about this innings from Brandon King. They've batted a lot more sensibly than the English did. They've played their shots. They've found a lot of fielders. That's one of the first of the really lovely shots.
I thought they let Dawson and Rashid bowled really well, but I thought they kind of let them bowl. Well, actually, I guess it's understandable when you're chasing, when you know you're probably going to win anyway. This one's cut to backward point by King, fielded by Liam Unlucky Dawson at backward point, who did bowl very well. There is no run. Sorry, just here's Tamal Mills' jingle.
I see a bad back of bowling.
It wasn't his back that caused him to miss the latter half of the T20 World Cup, but he did miss the latter half of that tournament, and England missed him.
The worst thing West Indies could have done this evening is lost a lot of wickets early on with injudicious shots, and I think for that partnership between King and Hope, I thought was really well judged, and they're just making untroubled progress towards a very low target.
I'm generally a fan of going hard at low targets, but I don't think it would have really mattered today either way. As
no,
Mills,
it's too low a target. It's almost undefendable.
Mills in that was a big loopy cutter from Tamal Mills that Nicholas Pooran completely missed through to the keeper. There is no run.
Yeah, it's hard to defend. I grant you that, Andy. I mean, those England fans who've made the journey hoping for some light relief after the Ashes, they've got back into
not so well. They still seem to be enjoying themselves.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I mean, so much is this game set up for tourists that one of the whether you might have a hill at some ground, there's a fake beach over one of the boundaries.
Mentioned that before, yes.
With pedalos, as Tamal Mills is in short delivery. That's what he excels at, bowling those hard lengths at pace with mixing slower balls. Nicholas Pooran cuts, and off the bottom edge it goes nowhere. There is no run. It's pretty hard to judge any of the England bowlers on their showing.
Yeah,
defend
absolutely.
104.
Yeah.
I suspect that I heard the BT studio pundits talking about this. Tom Curran, who's still got his terrible surface haircut, and Luke Wright, suggesting that the England players would have been told ahead of time which games they were playing, and I suspect that's probably right. That you will try.
That makes it, at least it saves people sort of getting the hump when they think they've been dropped. Yeah.
Mills in. This one cuts the other way into Pooran, who turns it down to long leg. They come through for a single.
Hard to justify though the selection of Billings tonight. You know, if Livingston's not fit to play after minor injury, then how can Billings be after 15,000?
Who else is keeping? Who else is keeping wicket?
Phil Salt and Tom Banton are both wicket keepers.
Yeah. Phil Salt is the white ball keeper for Sussex.
So Banton kept in the warm-up game with Salt coming in as a finisher in the lower middle order.
Yeah, and Salt is a much more exciting player than Billings, with all due respect to Kent fans.
I like Sam Billings. I can understand why he, as Mills comes in for the last ball of the 14th over, his second outside off stump, another slower ball. This is cut to backward point. There is no run. 6 runs off the over. West Indies 81 for 1, need 23 off the last 6 overs. I can understand why Sam Billings would have thought, right, I'm basically doing the test team. You know, I've been called into the test team when having already been called up for the ODIs, or for the T20s. Is this going to screw me over? And I can understand why he wanted that assurance.
No, I can understand that, Knuckle, but making it public and saying he'd done a deal with Ashley Giles was intemperate.
Yeah, maybe. Andy, who we got on socials?
Yeah, and Mog says plod, amble. I think mosey might be the appropriate term. Anna Forsyth and Nick having a conversation, but she does say, as always, I'm tuned into the Guerrilla Cricket, non-geo-blocked, comms, always top-notch. Thank you, that's very kind. My computer stopped scrolling. Hang on, give me a moment. We'll get back to those. And also, my personal request to the broadcasters: less stupid England fans, more cheerleaders, please.
I do wonder, the West Indies, who are sponsored by a travel company, their sponsor's logo is taped over, presumably because there's another travel company handling the England tours.
Most likely, yes.
It reminds me of
someone did ask about that on
the
Twitter,
cable
yes.
and wireless and Digicel issues back in the early 2000s, as Adil Rashid is going to bowl out a googly across Nicholas Pooran, who cuts to deep cover. They'll come through for a very, very easy 2.
Are they not without a sponsor, Knuckle, for this series? Isn't that the reason why the logos are taped over? Because Betway are just a media sponsor. They're not the sponsor of the team's
I think isn't it Sandals who sponsor the West Indies?
Not this series.
But you can clearly see that there's a bit of tape over the Sandals logo.
They should have paid up.
Well, they should have got some new kit, as this one slides into the toes of Nicholas Pooran and bounces
can't buy any kit without sponsor money.
There is no run. And they've also got the numbers. You have these huge numbers and then tiny names on the back, on the bottoms. It makes it quite hard to.
Did you hear Dwayne Bravo not complaining, but telling the story?
Rashid in. This one turns as well. There's been a little bit of turn in this surface. If England had managed to get themselves to 160, this game would have been very competitive indeed. This one is pushed into the onside, and I imagine tomorrow they'll be using the same surface, so batting first and getting a score on the board might be the way to go tomorrow, but we've got a little bit more in this game. Yet Adil Rashid slides one on to Nicholas Pooran, who pulls with no power or timing down to long leg for a single.
Yeah, Dwayne Bravo told the story of when he collected his first West Indies shirt, his first appearance for the West Indies team. He was disappointed to find not the logos, but the fact that the shirt was presented to him in a black plastic sack. He thought that it took some of the
it does take a little bit. It's not how you imagine getting your first international shirt, is it?
Yeah, I think all his kit. Yeah,
this one's turned into the onside. There is no run. You think at least a branded kit bag or a presentation from a former player or something?
Yeah.
They should do that. They should do that on Australia. They should put all the baggy greens into a big bin liner and then just say, "Here you go, chuck them out." There would be riots in Australia. The baggy green.
Last ball. It's been a good spell from Adil Rashid in a doomed cause. Batted well earlier in a doomed cause with Chris Jordan. This one is pushed by Pooran defensively into the onside. Pooran's on 19 off 23. Brandon King's on 41 off 42. Both batting for their averages, which is fair enough in this situation, but not something you should really repeat in T20 cricket in general. 19 needed off the last 5 overs, 84 for 1.
Not a problem in this circumstance. Mayank says tape is much cheaper than new kit for players and staff. Why waste cash for such small issues? Quite right. Mog says Billings had been pretty good in the BBL before being whisked away. Sam has sent us a picture of some Italian cricketers looking typically Italian and handsome. And we're up to date. Yep.
It's amazing how, mate, Butch, people think that forming a domestic competition is automatically going to carry through.
No one said automatically, David. You're straw manning.
Well, there's just an assumption with Billings that he would come off. I mean, all these franchises.
Mills in outside off stump and another slower ball hard into the wicket, which Brandon King jumps at and guides down to Rashid at deep third for a single.
Yeah, I'm not having a go at the franchise cricket, but it is domestic cricket. People tend to forget that. You know, when people say that people are playing in the franchises and getting experience.
There are different levels. I mean, the Big Bash was more than usually low on quality this year because of all the COVID stuff. But if you look at the IPL or the Pakistan Super League or in most years the CPL, there's a very good standard of player.
Sure, but just because they're called Super or Premier doesn't make them superior or more Premier than the first class domestic tournament.
This is outside off stump and a cut from Pooran, which he misses through to the keeper. There is no run.
They're still domestic tournaments. That's my point.
I mean, you would argue that many people would argue that those tournaments are domestic. I mean, in the West Indies, for example, there isn't an island level T20 tournament, so the CPL is effectively the Caribbean's domestic tournament as well as being an international tournament.
Exactly, they're domestic tournaments. That's my point. They're not international.
But you can't. You've got to. I'll come to that after this. But what else do you have to go on, basically, as a selector?
Yeah.
As Mills is in, tidily in this second spell. That's pulled over the head of the square leg umpire by Nicholas Pooran. Jason Roy fields out on the boundary. Tom Banton, in fact, rather. And they come through 4-1.
Yeah, I suppose a good BPL or good Big Bash doesn't, it doesn't necessarily lend itself to.
There are no guarantees. I've been thinking about selection quite a lot, and you, as a selector, you want some evidence that the person you're selecting is capable of doing the job you want them to do. Now, Billings has played a bit of international cricket and has done quite well, and is probably first cab off the rank with Butler and Bairstow unavailable. As Mills is in round the wicket to the right-handed Brandon King, he hurries him a little bit. This one skids on. King pushes out to deep square leg, but you might want something more recent to go on, and you're making your best educated call based on the available data. Now there are some people
if I can add something, you've also got to balance the different priorities of putting your best team out to win the game and trying to bring people in to build a stronger team in the future, and that's quite difficult, and I think more often than not it's slanted too much towards the future rather than the present.
As Mills is in, good Yorker, the first one he's bowled today. He doesn't bowl too many of those, Tamal Mills. This is pushed into the onside for a single. This is really the last chance England have got with the T20 World Cup later this year, and they've got a number of players unavailable through either having just played Test cricket or injuries.
We must have some T20s in the summer, surely.
They will, but I'd imagine that there'll be a significant split between the red and white ball squads, and that for example, I'm not sure Joss Butler will play another Test match, and that
Maybe
he might,
not.
or that I don't know. I mean, Mark Wood's going to be an interesting case actually, as this is a very slower ball, which King reads really well actually, and paddle flaps past Saqib Mahmood on the 45. Deep square leg. James Vince comes round, and they come through 4-2. 6 runs off the over. It's all gone. It's not quite the blaze of glory that West Indies, that the West Indies fans might have wanted to see this home, but West Indies need 13 off the remaining 4 overs, so it probably doesn't matter. Mind you, you have seen teams lose games from positions like this occasionally.
I mean, 13 off 24, 9 wickets left would be quite something.
Remember that run in that week in the IPL? Anyway.
Stuart Broad, this was it.
Andy, Stuart Broad said what you're saying about making sure you concentrate on winning the matches, rather than always looking ahead. As a Sussex supporter last year, I'd obviously started the year as a Sussex supporter. They were always going on about youth policy, building for the future, but they were losing every match. Oh, can I just give a shout? Talking of Sussex, can I just give a shout out to Rob Holt, Palmer's second team captain, who's listening in from Brighton with the Palmer's guys. Bob's made a huge impact on the club. Just shows what impact a change of captain can have. Is it time for Joe Root to go? All the platitudes after the press conferences in England, they did get.
I don't really know what Joe Root is meant to say after a press conference anymore.
He always says the same thing.
Again, I don't know what else you're supposed to say.
Saqib
Mahmood comes back into the attack. Looks like he and Mills are going to bowl out for as long as this game lasts, which might not be too much longer if Nicholas Pooran times them like that. Mahmood falls over and Pooran carves him past backward point. Beautiful shot, 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Nicholas Pooran is one of those players I've always found myself wanting to do well. I really love watching him when he's playing at his best.
Just going back to that point, if I can. Colin says, of course, the guys in their late 30s say play your best 11, but which is true. But the problem is, if you always got youth in the team, is that tomorrow never comes. You have to have a date in mind.
Short ball,
this time.
Jumping pull shots for Pooran down to square leg for a single. I mean, England did put a team together.
Just to finish my point, you can't always be building for the future. There has to be a present at some point.
No, I think with white ball cricket it is easier in that sense because there's always a global tournament. I mean, there's actually 3 in 3 years now with the 2 World Cups, T20 World Cups.
But if a captain
ODI
says the
World
same, going back to the captaincy point, if the captain says the same thing at the end of every match, he says things like, "Got to take the positives. As a group, we've got to learn and move forward." No, as a group, you failed. The group has to disband or be disbanded. And you're coming out with the same thing at the end of every match. What's he saying to the players?
Saqib in outside off stump and a little bit too short, and Brandon King decides that he does want an early dinner after all and smashes this away past cover. For 4, West Indies need just 4 more runs to win. Joe Root.
Do you really think that Joe Root, who doesn't pick the team, should say these players aren't good enough, we need some new ones?
No, but he's got to find.
What you just said.
Well, no, I didn't say that, but
Joe Root, to me, and I can understand this completely, was basically trying to say whatever he could to get the press conference over with as quickly as humanly possible.
Yeah, of course he was. Press conference is a stupid waste of time anyway.
Or even the flash interview. They can be interesting sommes. Witness Marlon Samuels. This one is clipped by Brandon King down to long on, and he marks his day out in Barbados with a 50, his second 50-plus score in T20 international cricket, coming off 57 balls. There'll be more important ones, there'll be more consequential ones, but this one has done the job.
I think it's a big innings. I think it's a big innings for Brandon King. There haven't been too many West Indies opening batsmen seeing their team home to a 9-wicket victory. They'll savour this. West Indies might be dull for some people. I think they play really well.
Short ball and pulled off one leg by Pooran out to Vince at mid-wicket. They come through for a single. What is that? 11 runs off Saqib Mahmood's comeback over with 1 ball left of it. Can Brandon King finish it off in style?
Who was a tennis player who said, I've had enough of these stupid press conferences, been asked these questions and refused to do them? Got fined and everything.
It was, I think there was an
There's a
NFL player,
lady.
Marshawn Lynch, came up before the Super Bowl, and his answer to every question was, "I'm just here so I don't get fined."
I mean, football managers are obliged to front up after every defeat and explain why a team has lost. I don't see why England captains or coaches shouldn't do the same.
They're obliged for broadcast reasons. I mean, some people are better at it than others. Karen Pollard actually spoke very well after the Island series about some of the failings. Hold that thought. Just Brandon King pushes to mid-off. The scores are level. West Indies need 1 run from the last 3 overs.
But it's usually just an exercise. His job is to say nothing. Is to say nothing that's going to get twisted by the press and make everyone look bad. His job, it's what he has to. They say to him, just go out and say nothing, and not so many words.
Judging captaincy is not easy, and I'm not sure that press conferences are the most visible aspect, or interviews afterwards are the most visible aspect. I'm not sure they're a particularly good guide to.
Well, no, but you have to be someone has to be accountable and responsible and judged on
I
performance.
think the accountability comes in a different form. Also, I mean, there is obviously the question of who on earth you would get to do the job if you didn't want it to be Joe Root, which is not a question we have time for, or that, frankly, I particularly want to spend this series talking about, because God knows there'll be enough time.
Yeah.
Tamal Mills has the thankless job of conceding the winning runs. For some reason, there is a fielder back just in case I don't know, Brandon King does want to try and finish it in style. Mills' left arm round the wicket, little hop and a skip at the start of his run-up. He's in full, and this is driven pleasantly by Brandon King out into the covers. He has hit the winning runs. For some reason, they want to come back for 2, even though they only need 1. And the West Indies win by 9 wickets with 17 balls to spare. It was never in doubt once Sheldon Cottrell and Jason Holder did their work to reduce England in the power play to 29 for 5 and then 49 for 7. Only Chris Jordan and Adil Rashid brought any sort of respectability or recognition as a professional cricket match to the score. Even but 104 was 50 runs short at least of a decent score. England never got going, and the West Indies complete a thoroughly professional win and go 1-0 up in this 5-match series.
Yeah, it's a great performance for West Indies, and coming after the ODI series defeat against Ireland, a very welcome one too. They weren't the favourites to win this. England were short price favourites coming into this match. Yet again, perhaps maybe underestimated a West Indies team, or whatever the reason for the underperformance. England certainly looked undercooked today. Some would say the whole team looked jet lagged, but only Sam Billings made the journey recently. Yeah, England off their at one stage, they were 43 for 7. I think it was at one stage, or 49 for 7 with the loss of Owen Morgan, and it was the manner of the dismissals. But no, West Indies will have enjoyed this victory because the knives were out. So it's very vital for their confidence as well. And Brandon King will be happy to have nailed down that opening slot, because that's been like revolving doors, the opening slot. And he's batted well tonight. I thought he played some really nice shots. Pooran looked good as well, because he's been out of form recently. But yeah, pride of place, man of the match, Jason Holder, for that fantastic spell of bowling. 4 for 7.
He tortured Owen Morgan in the power play. The 2 wickets at the end, you sometimes get a few cheap wickets at the end. Not, being able to bowl out tail enders is a skill, but power play wickets are more valuable in T20 cricket, and he took 2, as did Sheldon Cottrell. Both of them bowled extremely well, both coming back into the T20 team, and there'll be points of light. Akeal Hussain bowled nicely as well. His 4 overs, 1 for 16. We didn't see any really of Odin Smith, only bowling the 1 over and batting far down the card to be needed today. It'll be interesting to see what England do tomorrow, because the next game is tomorrow. All the games at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados. So the next game is tomorrow at the same time. Presumably there'll be some changes. Maybe we'll see Phil Salt. Maybe we'll see George Garton, Reece Topley, some players who could come into the team. It's hard to see the West Indies making any changes unless they were pre-planned to get some experience into some players, but judging from what I've seen of Karen Pollard over the years, I doubt it.
Oh, apparently, according to reports, the teams have already been picked. Players have been told England players have been told what games they're playing.
I would
in.
imagine.
Certainly
I would
Innings
imagine.
has.
I would imagine that would be. I would imagine that would be the case. This is a bit of a fact-finding mission.
Well, I'll go back to Andy's point about winning the games in front of you. You know,
I mean, they'll
think
still.
that's
They
important.
will still.
No. Yeah, but fair enough. But even so, yeah, I take that point. As I say, it's a balance. It's a balance. I think this is a perfect opportunity. I mean, basically, it's a friendly series. It's not.
It's one of those
doesn't
things.
count for anything.
You
So yeah, why not give everybody in the squad a game? Absolutely.
You want to find out a little bit, don't you? I mean, it's a little bit like in football. You often see young players coming into the team and do well after there's been a run of injuries or a run of poor form, and everyone says, why weren't they in the team to start with? Well, they wouldn't have forced their way in if they wouldn't. They get their chance in some sort of unusual way, where basically when a hole opens up, and that's basically what happened here. I think if England had been able to pick their first strength team, Owen Morgan is a ruthless enough captain that they would have played their full strength team. We've seen this before with Moeen Ali not playing the entire series in India because they wanted to pick a certain team for those conditions.
Yeah, I just thought we ran out of batting. England ran out of batting too early. You know, with Billings at 6 and Dawson at 7. I thought that was thin. You know, this is a notoriously difficult team to get into, the England white ball sides, and you know, what's Liam Dawson doing in it then?
I think Liam Dawson's been unlucky not to play a little bit more, but we can have all these discussions at some point later in the series. We'll make the most of the fact we've got off a little bit early. Thank you to David Brooke.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Finish a few tweets.
And,
people have been very patient.
Yeah, thank you, and apologies everybody for the technical difficulties that we had earlier today.
Yeah, O'Neill Harris said Kings batted well. Chances Innings also says how you perform in a press conference has nothing to do with how to bat, bowl or captain a team. I tend to agree. Sam Phillips, some Italian cricketers. That's Italian legend Jane Dernbach on the left. Oh, you can't blame me. He looks a bit Italian. And it was Naomi Osaka. Thank you for that, Mayank. Citing her mental health. And certainly some of the questions female tennis players get fired at them would test anybody's patience. Anyway, I guess we'll be back hoping for some more competitive games later in the series.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, thank you to Andy. Thank you to Mash Olsen, Patrick Hewitt. He'll be back for most of tomorrow. Thank you to Jason Hiscock. Thank you to Colin Souter as well. Your crew tomorrow is me, Tony Bishop, Mash Olsen, Patrick Hewitt, Jacob Jaffa, Al Hotchkiss, and Brian Barish. So another high quality crew for you here on Guerrilla Cricket. Join us at 7:45 UK time for the second T20 international one. England will hope that their batting turns up and will hopefully have a little bit more of an exciting game. But the West Indies bowled extremely well today and did the job with the bat. They win by 9 wickets to go, 1-0 up. We will see you here on Guerrilla Cricket tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Guerrilla Cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla Cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing